human.
Beginning here 9 to noon, TCO Studios in Egan, the final weekly appearance for 9 to noon here, and we've loved it. It's been an awesome year, just awaiting the head coach and the Vox to take it away. X's and O's with head coach Kevin O'Connell. I did want to take a moment, appreciate the talkbacks, by the way, found one we're going to use for the coach. But you can check it out, whether it's my social at MadProducer1. You can see it posted on KFAN. I was even strong-armed into using Facebook. But there's a Ballard's Resort trip coming up February 20th through the 23rd. Little walleye trip, Lake of the Woods. And I'm going to be up there. And you have the opportunity to book your spot. You can go to ballardsresort.com to learn more. But it's a package that includes lodging, meals, fishing, drinks, the license, transportation, all of that. Ballard's Resort is absolutely first class. Love it up there. And the ability, it was a trip from the spring that sadly, due to some health stuff in the Nordquist household, I wasn't able to attend. So just working with them, it's like, well, let's try one on ice. Let's try one in February. So again, February 20th through the 23rd, all you winter anglers out there, if you are interested in jumping on board and booking a spot, it's ballardsresort.com. And to the text line, many conversations maybe we'll get into tomorrow as I fill in for PA, whether it's what the Minnesota Wild are doing, anticipating and having some hockey heavy affairs with the matinee or mid-afternoon game at San Jose, but Vikings talkers, just what a year that this has been, 2025, kind of cliche in some ways, right? Just, it's not ups and downs or best and worst type of conversation, but what a year it has been for some of our favorite pro sports teams. And that'll be part of the conversation tomorrow. But for now, happy to welcome not just PA, but the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, Kevin O'Connell, in studio joining us.
X's and O's is in the air at FM 100.3 KFAN. This is our swan song with the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings for the 2025. And on behalf of yours truly, the radio station, and the X's and O's Covenant, thanks for everything this season. We look forward to these chats every single week. Hasn't been the greatest at times. On a winning streak right now. Started back in 2022, where we were in the TV studio, switched to this recently, and we just really look forward to it. So thank you very much.
Yeah, you got it. Really appreciate the time, the talk back questions, and the interaction I get to have, not only with you guys, but with all the listeners out there as well. So it's been good.
Talk back. I don't know what it's going to be. Nordo has it all set up. Let's nail the talk back now.
Hey, PA. Hey, Nordo. It's Max from Egan. My question for KO is, I know that the season didn't go exactly according to plan, but we've gone on the incline for the last couple of weeks here. And going into this off season, what lights that fire under your seat? And what gets you excited and motivated going into next season?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think, first and foremost, I think of all the things that I could do better and I can do to make sure and ensure, whether that's in the off seasons, that's how we prepare our team in the off season program. When we go into free agency and the draft, any and all input I can have on with the collaboration of our coaches of how we're going to play, where we think we need to do things differently, schematically, like we'll go into all that, but that always gives you energy to know that you're already on your way. The moment that I get done with meeting with every player in those exit meetings, the couple days after we get done, I'm kind of full speed ahead on the task at hand, which is a daily approach to trying to grow personally and obviously challenge the staff and figure out ways for us to grow football wise, and then figure out what the 2026 Vikings are going to look like, and then how we go about building that from a standpoint of what we do on the grass when we get them back in the spring. But it always starts with me, and there's always going to be things that I'm learning in this job, and the beauty of it is we have great players, we have great people in this organization, and many of which work tirelessly to make sure that we're constantly improving and chasing that ultimate goal, which, as we've learned each and every season in the NFL, just looking at teams that didn't make the playoffs last year and now they're winning divisions, and you're looking at teams that did and like ourselves, and we're not going to be a part of it, but that does not mean that every moment, every minute will not be massively important as we prepare towards the next season. But we'd like to make sure we take care of business on Sunday, and winning 5 games in a row after being at the 4-8 spot we were at, where you're right, these lights in this studio were a little dim those days, and there was a little bit of angst that we still feel, because ultimately we're not going to be able to participate in the postseason. But at the same time, very, very proud of our guys, very proud of the way this organization has kind of really leaned in some moments where, quite honestly, and this may be something that is a surprise to people, a lot of NFL teams don't do what this collection of guys have done over these last 4 weeks, and we've got to finish it off, and it's important to finish it off the right way. Not only just an NFC North rival opponent, we've got a chance to finish 4-2 in the division. We've got a chance to, obviously, win our last 5, but most importantly, win another game at home in front of our great fans. What an atmosphere that last Thursday was. I know. It
was unbelievable. It was so happy.
From the time you got in the building, It was just, there was energy, there was joy, and then our players felt that, and we wanted to make sure we responded to that the right way and find a way to win that game. And but total compliment to our fans, most importantly, but all the folks that put on that great show for us within this building.
So after the Green Bay game, correct me if I'm wrong here, but there is a shutdown factor. I mean, like decompress, or how's that work for you, the coaches? Before you settle fully into the off season.
Yeah, it'll be a 2 or 3 week process before I probably take a little bit of time just with the family at some point. But there's a lot of layers to it.
Yep.
We will, obviously mention the exit interviews. I think it's important each and every player, practice squad, and our roster get a chance to spend some one-on-one time with me and make sure that I can articulate how much I care about those guys, but also there might be some young players where you can immediately give them, in conjunction with their position coach or coordinator, you can immediately give them the pathway, the roadmap to them improving and finding their place they ultimately want to be, which is on the field for our team. But then there's, I'll spend a lot of time with somebody like Brian O'Neill or Justin Jefferson or TJ Hawkinson, Harrison Smith for sure, and that one will be obviously a little bit different, where it'll be part celebration, part recruiting, trying to see where his head's at. He won't answer the question, he won't even go there, and I'll still ask it anyway. But a lot of questions like that, and then we'll get into a week or two of some evaluations of some of the things we did at the bye week, and then we assess what we did coming out of the bye week. What did we do over these last 4 or 5 weeks as a team that allowed us to obviously improve and win some games, and then ultimately we've got to identify what we need to do to improve, not only with our roster, with our team, but like I said, schematically as well. So there's a lot that goes into it, and most importantly, making sure that putting a bow on a season, even when it's not necessarily the kind of season you wanted, is important, because you can't just move on. You can't. This isn't a bury the tape kind of year. Although at times, especially offensively, it's been one that you would like to. But at the same time, it's how you grow and improve, is meeting it head on and attacking this thing.
Yeah, you hate not being in the playoffs.
I do.
I can tell. I mean, it's. You and I have a lot of chats together, man, and whether it's your tone of voice or your outlook is altruistic. It has a positive side to it.
Yep.
But I'm just, mentioning it to Ekstrom or other ancillary people. It's just, you just really, really hate this. But you can't dwell either and be like, if this had happened against Duvernay and this had happened against Atlanta. You can analyze it and tear it down, make it better, like you just said. But this is really eating at you right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just, you think back to moments throughout. You think back to, how we prepared our team for this week or that week, or, it feels like forever ago that we were all in Ireland and London, and we were, taking on that challenge.
For January, that was the theme into the season.
Exactly.
Get them ready for January.
And it was, there's really nothing else to say. I do hate it. I've shared my feelings on winning, obviously, is the ultimate intent, the ultimate goal.
Yep.
Every single game we play, but, the losses do sting. And then they sting because you look back on them in these moments where you could finish a half game out or possibly even have a better record than teams that are in the playoffs, maybe in a different division or conference. But ultimately, it's not where we want to be and not where this organization or our fan base should ever feel like we don't belong, because we do, and we will be back. With
Harrison Smith, have you come across many who get the respect that man receives? Take away your playing days.
Yep.
I mean, go right to Tom Brady, some other people. But in your coaching career, the respect he receives from coaches, players, fans, DJ Reed coming up to him after the game, tapping him on the shoulder like, man, 14, you're the bomb. That just stuff like that resonates. He's one of the most beloved players in the history of this franchise. Have you come across many who win favor with media, the whole thing?
It's hard to even compare him to anybody else, just because he's so uniquely Harrison, and he's never tried to be anybody else but authentically who he is, and that's been the best part about it, because he is a person that I enjoy. I enjoy my friendship and my relationship with personally. He's taught me a lot. We have some really, really awesome conversations every Friday morning, and very rarely is it about football, but he's smart. He's incredibly thoughtful in his approach to not only football but life, and he takes that serious in regards to his leadership role on this team. He's got his own personal way of his touch points with players and people in this building. If every organization could have a Harrison Smith, they'd be doing pretty well. And I'm just so fortunate to have had this time with him, and hope to have a little bit more as well.
Well, and in listening to your press conference yesterday, and you're getting peppered with these Flores questions, and understandably so. What do you think of this? Because when I or others talk to Harrison Smith, there's a side of it where he's like, this individual defense that I'm in, mentally stimulating, puts me in a good spot, and it's good. So now, can you take the Harrison Smith forward-thinking conversation and kind of tie it to what's next for Flores, whether it's here or somewhere else?
In regards to
say Brian goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
Well, then that may elevate the chances Harrison doesn't come back.
Well, first of all, I'd not like to think like that, PA. But second of all, what I would say here is, I do think what has been built here, especially, over the second kind of part of the season into the tail end of this season, is wildly unique, and probably one of one that's existed in the NFL, at least by my knowledge,
really?
Of a player with, essentially the keys to, exactly what's going to happen on the play. And we've had a check defense. We've had incredibly high football IQ going on our defense of guys like Harrison, or even Cam Bynum and Metellus like last year, like the way those guys all communicated. And then you throw Cash in the mix as the green dot, a guy like Van Ginkel on the edge. I mean, you've got some off-the-charts football intelligence there. So it's always been a thinking man's defense that ultimately, when the ball snapped, it becomes a violent, physical kind of group of a defense. But with Harrison over these last few weeks, it's just kind of morphed in a really cool way that has been one of the joys of coaching this team, has been watching when we're on defense and, hearing the initial call from Flo, and then ultimately watching Harrison kind of take it from there and play that game within a game with the other team's quarterback, and in many cases the other team's play caller, and it's just been really, really cool to watch.
If I'm a player, I ask Harrison, what do you do from the time you leave to the time you get back here? He's running. I don't want to say he's running better than last year, because I remember him playing last year, but his blitzing and his running right now, he really takes care of his body, doesn't he?
He does. And the other thing to mention is, he had a pretty significant issue he had to work through in the early part of the season, training camp, and that might have, in many cases, maybe slowed his start to what has been a really, really good season. And I think his finish to this season and the amount of snaps he's playing and just the energy he has and the physicality, like you're talking about, he's playing with, I think is a credit to him. It's a credit to how he handles the off seasons, how he manages his body, how he recovers after games. We try to obviously take care of him. As you're around here a lot, you see we're trying to make sure we know 22 is going to be ready to go on Sunday, but what can we do to make sure he's prepared and ready to do a lot of the super impactful things that he does, but at the same time be physically turned over, and that's part of it too. That's part of the plan for what that may indeed look like moving forward, and that's the off season, that's training camp, and then on into hopefully next season. But he is, and the one thing about it is that I think is really, really special is I don't believe our fans, every time he runs out of the tunnel, you can feel it. Our fans don't take it for granted. They don't. That's what makes our fan base so special, is they understand not only the player, the impact he's had, but the person and the leader and the human as well.
Yeah, there are a lot of 18s in the stands.
Yeah.
A lot of 3s, a lot of 33s, a lot of 22s.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of old school 22s that go all the way back to 2012. Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, swan song X's and O's. Fabian Moreau.
Yeah.
All right. You've known him since your Washington days. And the reason I bring it up is there are just so many ancillary facets to this defensive success that are underrated. And the reason I bring up Fabian is he never splashes, but he's never on the wrong side of anything catastrophic.
Yeah.
Well, that right there is a work of art in its own right from the way that transpires, correct?
Yeah, and I think, why Fabian's been so important is you think of how we play defense, and there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of changing happening second to second, pre-snap, and even post-snap in many ways, depending on how the play kind of, takes shape there from an offensive standpoint when you're defending an offense. Fabe is just so constant, so consistent, the same guy. He can be relied upon, and in game is probably my favorite thing about him. It is never too big for him. He always is, ready to meet the moment when those plays do inevitably come his way. And I think he's answered the bell this year when we absolutely needed him to. As a guy that has played a lot of football, like you mentioned, whether it was his Washington days, New York, Denver, here, wherever he's gone. Fabian's been ultra consistent, and he's always kind of been in that role where, what really is his role? It's going to be to play a lot of football, where maybe you came out of training camp thinking, hey, we're lucky we got him, but he's not necessarily going to be the starter, or maybe it's not going to be it hasn't been the long-term plan in one particular place for Fabian, but that's what I love about him. Great relationship with him that goes back to his rookie year, and he's just always a guy that I know I'm going to get the same Fabian Moreau every day, and that is deemed very much been a good thing for the Vikings this year in our defense.
And Kevin, you mentioned the Christmas Day victory over Detroit, the joy in the building, and Harrison Smith and how he factored into it. That it also was joyous when Ty Chandler ran into the game as the backup running back. What a kind human being, super fast, been on an arduous trail to get to that moment. And then you're like, whoa, hey, fresh legs too. From like a football standpoint,
ran hard.
But man, how great was that for Ty?
Yeah, it was a long time coming, and obviously Aaron's been so tough and working through some things and continuing to be out there every week for this team. But to have Ty to be able to come in there and really run the football hard. Detroit, it's always a physical game, and when you're playing against those guys, and he was running through some tackles, finishing forward, really stealing a yard or two or three extra on some of those carries that really allowed us, especially when we were stacking the runs, as well as we were at times in that game, to move the football. Ty was a big part of it, and he's a guy that Vikings fans can always know they're going to get Ty Chandler, the physical, the speed, the burst, the guy that has really grown within this program over these last few years. And you put him right there with Jalen Naylor and Jay Ward and some of these guys that were here early on in our tenure here when we first got here, the first couple years, and have really grown within the system. We've got great coaches coaching those guys, and they have now become guys that are really the standard barrier for our culture because they've been a part of building it from day one.
You mentioned Jalen Naylor. Currently set to be unrestricted after the year. You've put so much time and belief into Jalen Naylor. I'll never forget a couple of preseasons to go into it, how excited you were to say, when we did those production meetings for the simulcast, PA, we're going to feature Jalen. Yeah. Okay, it's people be like, it's a preseason game. No, for the offense, for Jalen, for that moment, that's massive. Yeah. And like when you put the C on Metellus at Soldier Field, little things like that, just really, really play into the totality of the story. But talk about Jalen and all the time and belief you put into him. Yeah,
it really started, I remember way back watching him at Michigan State. Remember, Jaden Reed, from Green Bay was also a receiver on that team, and both of them had very impressive film. And you're kind of watching it, envisioning a guy, and you were trying to figure out exactly what he was going to be in the NFL. Hey, what position does he, maybe slate as, whether it's an inside and outside? How is he going to complement Justin Jefferson and the other receivers we either had at the time or eventually built that receiver room to be? And I remember coming to the conclusion he can be anything he wants because he's big, he's fast, he's strong, catches the football well, has a football intelligence that allows him to really play any and all spot required. And I'm on record saying when you play receiver in an offense with Justin Jefferson, the way he lines up everywhere and motions and moves in our offense, you've got to there is no such thing as I'm a slot receiver, I'm an outside receiver. That can be where you do a lot of your work and have a lot of your success, but the guys that thrive here around Justin are the guys that can do a little bit of everything at a high level. Jordan Addison's done a lot of those things as well. But I think Speedy is just a great example. He's got Keenan McCardell, who I think is, if not the best, one of the best receiver coaches in football. His experience as a player, his ability to teach, his ability to relate to these guys, all at different points in their journey. It's just been awesome to watch with Speedy, and I love him. I think he's earned everything that's coming to him. Hopefully, we're able to keep him in this building. But as you know, PA, these football coaches that watch the tape, they know exactly what Jalen Naylor's been able to do. He's fast, and ultimately is going to. I think he's going to be a very popular player.
I'm not 2 to go here with Kevin O'Connell. Vikings and Packers Sunday at noon. It's the season finale for Kevin's team. I'm not trying to make Will Fries sound like a cross between Randall McDaniel, Steve Hutchinson, and Marshall Yanda. However, in a season where a Minnesota moving company's had at least 25 different offensive line combinations, and then him coming back from that injury, having to get himself in shape in training camp during preseason games, and to make all the dances, assuming he's starting this weekend, and to make all the dances, he's starting this weekend, right?
He is.
That's 17 consecutive on a Minnesota moving company that's been makeshift. I mean, that's pretty good.
He is, there's been a lot of combinations, as you mentioned. There's been a lot of snaps without either one of our tackles or both potentially, which is always difficult. There's been multiple centers. There's been multiple guys at that left guard spot. And although Donovan, I think, has had a great year and a really exciting first year here, Will Fries has been a guy that, that injury was significant. Right. And, a lot of times you find out about guys and you find out about their makeup and their love of football throughout that journey. Back from an injury, and I think just the way he's been able to attack it, I don't think he's truly felt like himself for much of the season, just because of the grind of the season coming back from an injury like that. But I will tell you, I'm really excited about Will and think he's going to continue to ascend in our offense. Knowing that he's had all this time of full season, and now he'll obviously, knock on wood, have a great full offseason ready to hit the ground running.
I heard the press conference yesterday. I don't know, maybe something changed. Do you think we'll get to see McCarthy in the finale, or is it over until next year, or we just have to wait?
Yeah, there's really no way to know right now, because there's really no, there's no gamesmanship with this one. This purely comes down to, we were able to get some of the swelling out of that thing, and it's doing a lot better. We'll see how he's able to, purely if he can grip the football and throw the football the way he's capable of doing that throughout the practice week leading into the game. We're going to try to get JJ out there for one more start, because all of these are so massive for him now as he wraps up year 2.
And his progress has been terrific.
And he's improving, and the progress has been there, and we just we just got to work through the week, and there really is there's no gamesmanship to this one, PA. We're just in a wait and see mode.
Well, God bless you and your family.
Yep.
Thanks for everything with X's and O's.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll see each other around the corner, and certainly at the Combine. Thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate you guys very much.
Thank you. That's
You
Kevin
too, Nordo.
Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. That's X's and O's. Wild head coach John Hynes joins us next. Devin, what's going on, man?
What's up, PA?
Hit a swoosh or let us know when our Coach Hynes calls, okay? Just clip on in there and say, we got him.
10-4.
That's Devin Ward. He's guiding the great ship Love Covenant back at FM 100.3 KFAN. Hey, sports leader, Nordo, and yours truly, Paul Allen. Our 2025 TCO Radio Swan Song is taking place today. And that was our final chat with Kevin O'Connell during the course of this season. Under the assumption I am going to the Combine. I'm not exactly sure how long, A, if I'll be there.
Yeah. B,
how long I'll be there. That could be the next sit down with Kevin O'Connell. Maybe we'll arrange something before that. But, it's I sensed early in the conversation and via some of Kevin's, I like to make it abundantly clear. I am not I looked into his eyes and I could tell this was happening.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy. I don't like when people pretend to be that person. I just know from chatting with O'Connell as much as I do on or off the microphone, when the cadence in his voice gets a certain way, he wears a certain amount of his emotions on his sleeve around certain people or certain situations. I could just sense early in that conversation he was pissed off.
We got Coach Hynes.
Like it's starting to hit him hard that, wow, we're not going to be in the playoffs and the season is over this weekend at noon. And
he loathes it.
He's loathing it. Joining us now from the West Coast, John Hynes, coach of the Minnesota Wild. The team, convincing 5-2 victory at Vegas last night. Shoot, man. Coach Hynes, you guys were up 5-0 before people could settle into their seats and get their concessions. Before we talk about last night and the state of the team, just conducted a long interview with Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell, and he asked us to say hello to you and wish you nothing but the best the rest of the journey.
Oh, great. Kevin's a great guy. I got to get him. He came to the playoffs last year, so I'm looking forward to seeing him again. And he's a bright coach, and I enjoyed our conversation with him, so I appreciate that.
And we appreciate you. Thank you very much for on a holiday week, and you're thousands of miles away. Thank you for calling. And I'm not the first to say this here. Last night was different for me. Johansson, Boldy, and Eck, that line. and just how well it's going right now. You know, you've talked about it before, but like from a trained eye standpoint, Coach, with Johansson, Boldy, and Eck, like what is clicking that is nuance laden?
Well, I think all three players, all at the same time are playing at a high level. I think that they have tremendous work ethic and consistent competitiveness, and the details in which they play the game with are very good. Whether it's defensive detail where they don't have to spend a lot of time defending because they're in the right spots. They check hard. They win pucks back. And then from an offensive perspective, they have a high level of execution right now. They make the right decisions at the right time, and they support each other from an offensive perspective in those areas, and that allows them to play. They're playing a really strong, complete game, and all three of them are contributing at a high level.
As the team goes in totality, it was just so calm last night. You guys were just so calm and poised with now granted, it looks like Vegas blew it in the high slot by just letting a puck saunter across the ice for the first goal. But nevertheless, Brodin didn't freak out. He's a veteran. Nice, calm pass. Middleton calmly hitting Johansson from his knees, triggering the 2-on-1 for Boldy's 25th. Do you sense that the farther you get into this, the calmer and more poised everybody's becoming?
Yeah, I do. I think the guys, what happens over the course of the season is, the team has confidence, but they've earned the confidence, the attention to detail, and the commitment to play a strong team game and the details we want to. The guys have really they've taken ownership of that, and I think they believe in each other. They believe in what we need to do to win games, and they're committed to it. So, I think that comes into the poise and the confidence, and just if we do make the right plays and do the right things, then we're a good enough team to be able to come out and win a hockey game, and they've taken ownership of that. So it's been great to see.
John, when you make a move for Quinn Hughes the way you do, does that in essence say to those in the room, all right, wow, holy cow, they really do believe in us potentially getting to the Stanley Cup? I mean, that's underrated, but it's big, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a big part of, when you, particularly within the team for the players, the guys, they all want to win, and everybody wants to be highly competitive and, get into the playoffs and give yourself a chance and the team a chance to win. That's why we all do this. So when the organization and, Billy makes the move to add a guy like Quinn Hughes, and it was a big trade. You've given up three really good young players, and
right.
But you're getting a marquee player in the league. You're getting one of the top two play driving defensemen in the league. It certainly gives that mindset and helps the mindset of the team push forward and want to give back also from that belief in how they play, and it's been good to see. And I think it's been great for the players.
Hey, John, back to that second goal for a second. When Middleton, when he goes down and he makes the pass, first he has to direct the puck with his skate. Then he's going down, makes the pass from the knees, goes to Johansson, then to Eck. Boldy gets his 25th. And they created a 2-on-1. What was Middleton purposely passing the puck, or was he just trying to get it out of the zone?
No, it was a second effort play by Midzi to get that puck up there, and then obviously JoJo had good poise on the wall, and then he made a nice play. And that's even when you like that one play in particular, but even if you look at like the Winnipeg game on Kaprizov's goal, Yurov's coming into D zone at the end of a shift. He's completely exhausted. He's been out there for like a minute 10. He comes down, blocks a shot on an odd man rush against, and then has a second effort play to Zuccarello, who then springs Kaprizov. And those are the little, when you talked about those little things in the game, that's where your guys are, really committed with second and third efforts, and you have to recognize those little plays. Kaprizov's goal was beautiful, but there was a huge play and a self-sacrifice play by Yurov to be able to set that play up.
Hey, on a 14-day trip like you guys are on, you're 2-0 so far at San Jose tomorrow. How does one pack for a 14-day trip?
Some guys overpack, some guys underpack. It's a long one, but I think it's tough. The one good thing about this trip is, other than the Winnipeg, you're basically getting kind of the same weather everywhere, so it's easier to pack. It's tougher sometimes when you go from winter climates to a little bit Southern California climates. It gets a little bit different, so it's easier that way, but it's always a challenge.
What do you guys do for New Year's in California, or New Year's Eve as a team, or what do you guys do?
Yeah, we play tomorrow at 1 against San Jose, and then we fly to Anaheim, and we have a big team dinner. So our team services guy Dom, did a great job. We have team dinner table set up. We got TVs in a big room. Got some card tables that guys can play. So we'll have it, celebrate New Year's together. So it'll be nice. I think it's an opportunity for guys to be able to spend time together, and everyone brings in the New Year's together as a team in a great environment. And it's grateful. That's another thing. That's where the organization helps as well too, that, they allow and help us provide opportunities to be able to do that with the team. And, so it should be a great night. And that's something that, those little things on the road, when you have opportunities to do those, there are moments in the season that I think also help brings the group together.
Amen. That's a terrific answer. Two more for Coach John Hynes. Back to your blue liners. The three defensive pairings that you have, how do they give you situational flexibility in all circumstances? Obviously, the addition of Hughes makes some things different, but do you guys have situational flexibility maybe better than you've had before?
Yeah, you certainly do. I think with the 3D pairs we have now, I think you feel comfortable putting them out. We may match, say you imagine Brodin and Spurgeon maybe against a certain line. I think then you can rotate the other guys through regardless of who the other team puts out there, which gives you flexibility and some balanced ice time for guys. You have some of the guys that their main responsibility is penalty killing. Obviously, you have three of the defensemen are power play guys in Hughes, Favor, and Spurgeon. So you don't have to overtax guys, but I think it gives guys an opportunity to dig into their role and their responsibilities. You feel very comfortable with guys like, say, Midzi, Middleton, and Bogosian, some D-zone starts against maybe some bigger, stronger, harder lines. So it's nice to have the healthy guys the way that they are right now, and certainly the way that they're playing.
Last one, Coach, and the reason I bring it up, it's such an anomaly. I mean, the penalty kill was excellent last night. Number one on the road in the NHL, last at home. Honestly, how does one unpack that anomaly?
Yeah, still trying to unpack that one. I know it's been PK's been great on the road, and it's obviously we've got to be a little bit better at home. But it's one of those things that sometimes even for a team, right? There's a team sometimes you win more on the road than you do at home, and
right.
It's not like you're doing different tactics or systems or things like that. I just think it's something that we got to iron out a little bit as we move forward.
Happy New Year, Coach. Thanks for everything. We'll chat with you next year and next week, okay?
All right. Sounds good, PA. Thanks, man. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Tear it up against San Jose. Bye-bye. John Hynes, coach of the Minnesota Wild. Final segment from the TCO radio studio next. Gophers Weekly with Nico Medved coming up around the corner. Hey, don't forget, this not only is the swan song for our Tuesdays with Kevin O'Connell with X's and O's at Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center, but our final Friday football
Nice.
Takes place at Buffalo Wild Wings, Eagan, this Friday. We expect to have the game-changing linebacker from back in the day, Chad Greenway, with us. If he's able to make it, that would be about 9:15. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Buffalo Wild Wings, Eagan, the Vox of all Voxes, ever to Vox. Alan Roach will be there with us at about 11 a.m. Doesn't make many public appearances, but we got him that Friday at Buffalo Wild Wings, Eagan, though.
Yeah, I'm excited for, I'm sad it's the finale, but it's still a border battle. It's still a feast. And it's still the chance to dunk on the Pack and send them into the postseason on the worst possible foot and party with the fans. Again, my first full season doing these Friday feasts, just really impressed by how full these buildings have been week after week after week. And especially you think about the back half of this season, the way, we're having conversations about injuries and position related L's and just the situations of being an 8-8 team, but the Rubes still show up. Now, maybe that's related to, hey, I got a ton of PTO and I just want to drink beers at 8 a.m. on a Friday. That's all good. Just happy you're doing it with us and happy that we get to do it at B-Dubs. Now it's Eagan to put a cap on the 2025 feast schedule.
And thank you for the good times today. Gophers Weekly is next. Devin Ward, thank you very much. Nordo, thank you very much. And I'm Paul Allen. Most importantly, thanks to all of you for listening to 9 to Noon and or KFAN. When you do, have a wonderful day. God bless all of your families. And thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Good